Mabena. Today we are speaking about the business behind art, and as per normal, we'll just go around across the floor for our guests to introduce themselves. So we'll start at the far end there with Bekezela. All right, so please tell us who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Hello everyone, welcome. So my name is Bekezela Mabena. So I'm a visual artist and a printmaker. So yeah, and I'm an abstract artist basically. So what I do is no cool, but when I'm a koporosh. Yeah, so that's what I do basically. I'm a koporosh in a professional level basically.
When I'm a koporosh.
Well, I'm not there yet. But yeah, basically.
So it's going to be interesting. And lastly, Khalipha, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Good evening, everyone. This is Tumisang Khalipha. I'm a visual artist. I believe through my mediums of visual art form, I am a visual healer. So that's how I define my work in my profession. Thank you.
Hey, some deep stuff, visual healer. Bekezela, so let's come back to you. What is visual art?
That's a very difficult question.
Sure.
So, for me, visual art basically is everything is visual art basically. Yeah, because starting from everything that you see and visualize and actually can define with your eyes. So, for me is first thing you start by visualizing something on your mind, but by when you see something and actually you process it and you can actually identify that object or something, for me that becomes a visual art. So, but in the book sense of like academically, visual art is basically drawings basically, sculptures, something that is man-made, something that is created basically by an artist or by a professional sculptor or something. So yeah, basically that's visual art for me. I don't know, maybe I'm missing some words, but yeah, that's visual art for me.
Sure, do you want to answer the same question?
No, man, I think my approach would be in terms of what is visual art. For me, it's a form of one's expression and one's emotion, one's feeling, so that's visual art to me.
Sure. Okay, so this is business talk. So obviously we want to go into the business behind the art, right? Behind the type of art that you guys do. So obviously you grew up with, I'm not sure if I'm using the right words if I say this is a talent, is it a gift? It could be one of the two or maybe both, right? So you have this talent or gift, but now it's also it's your livelihood, right? You make money from it, right? So how do you make the transition then from it being a talent or a gift and then turning it into the business? How does that transition take place?
So from my side, it came from school basically. You start by, you have a talent, you have a gift basically, you can draw, but how you transform that gift or talent into a professional level. For me, I had to go to school, in high school, Gianna Secondary School. So when I was there, when I had like to choose subjects, so there was visual art. So I had to do visual, check the subject visual art because I had the potential of like drawing, and I guess I was good then. So when I went there, so I started visiting galleries, so that to gain more inspiration basically, and to see what like where can drawing take you basically. So from there went to also to school, then to study further in terms of like what is art and what can art do, and how can someone define art, and how can you take it further in terms of like people getting to understand what you're doing basically. Since I say everyone, I do abstract, and I can do abstract, but no one can actually understand. So now there are some elements that I need to learn and need to add on my work that people get to understand and stuff. So yeah, what was the question? I talked a lot.
So the question was around the transition from the talent or gift into business, because now your livelihood comes from it.
Yes, so as I said, visiting galleries basically
Sure.
getting to meet people, getting to know people, getting to network, getting to communicate with people in terms of like, this is what I do and how can I take it further.
Sure.
And those advices, you can go there, do this, you can add this on your work. Then now the work gets to speak volume basically.
Sure.
People get to understand the work. Now you get to also understand the transition between like where you started and how you're growing basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's how you transition. For me, at school also. Yeah, school has played a major role in terms of like transitioning.
Sure. Msanda, I can see your signal. But I just really want Kali to answer the same question, like how did the transition happen for you, because it might not be in the same way.
So yeah, man, I think for me, as much as I would say, firstly, we somehow all start as amateurs, so that means we don't know nothing of or any clue of what we are basically doing and stuff. So I was firstly like inspired to become a visual artist, but I didn't like recognize it at the time, you know.
Sure.
Until in my college times, until like in a class I would be like drawing and stuff, and fortunate enough one of my facilitators would be like, hey, you know what, I was actually in corporate with this one of ladies who just quit the job to pursue his career,
Sure.
their career. So I was like, okay. And then this one day he called me to say, let me introduce you to the lady, and I grabbed the opportunity. And fortunately enough, the lady actually introduced me to the world of art, you know,
Yeah.
and the business side of the art world, you know.
Yeah.
So I think from that point, where I grew up where I used to actually draw from my home, my comfort space, to like attend the art classes and pursue a career out of the inspiration.
Sure.
I think from that point, that's when I knew, okay, somehow this is not just some kind of form of inspiration and whatever,
Yeah.
but there's a living in this, and there's life in this. As much as we not also only telling stories of our own, but we telling stories to the world, for the world, and
Yeah.
for all of us to like heal and stuff, you know.
Awesome. I want to go into that because you keep mentioning it, but I'll let you come in now, Sanda. But the whole healing part, I think we need to go into that. But Sanda, you can go ahead.
No, Mzanda, my question was, I've spoken to a lot of artists. I love art a lot. I visit a lot of art galleries. So if you ask me one of 10 art galleries in Johannesburg, I'll probably answer all of them. However, one of the most problem that they always find or they always encounter is they don't know how to integrate their artwork and business. So they don't know anything when it comes to handling their business. Do you think now, at the position you are at, are you successful in the knowledge of saying, now I can sell my art, now I can market my art, or now I can be that business person for my own art?
I think it's always a learning process, each and every encounter basically. So there are different galleries, and every time a gallery has like their own terms and conditions. They have their own way of handling the work. They have their own way of like moving the work basically. It's always very important to sit down with the gallery and talk the terms and conditions basically, in terms of like how are they gonna show the work basically, and what's the contract? How is it gonna be? How the work is gonna move basically? Because you can find that you sign with the gallery, but the gallery does not sell the work, but you get to be the one feeding the gallery the clients in terms of like your clients get to be buying the work from the gallery. You see, now the gallery is not actually bringing clients to buying the work. Now, but it's like the client can just come to you and buy the work basically. But now you sign with the gallery, so now it becomes a little bit of like a difficult in terms of the clients get to be buying the work from the gallery now.
So you depend on the gallery to market and sell your art at the moment?
So for me, no. For me, no, not really. So my professional art career actually, I think, has just begun, because I think I'm just like I like to say 2 years like in the game, because I've been in the woods. Then I recently got a studio for like, it's been 2 years since I got the studio. So having the studio, it actually opened some new channels in terms of like how can I actually market the work, how can I move the work. And also there's Instagram, posting and hashtags and tagging some of the people. You get to have like different followers, different people get to see your work basically. Now clients get to contact you personally in terms of when they want the work. But when you sign with the gallery, you can sign the gallery in terms of like the gallery gets to own the work. When you create the work, the gallery gets to sell the work. But you can also have the privilege of like signing with the gallery and giving them the work that they need to sell, and the other work that you're working on, then you sell it on the studio basically. So yeah.
And the same question goes to you.
I would love you to repeat the question because it's very interesting.
So have you managed to integrate your how you want to sell your art and you as a person, your creativity, your art? Most people find it very difficult to sell their art, but they're very good when making one. Do you think, when it comes to business, are you in yet, or you're still figuring it out?
I would firstly love to like support what Mabena just said earlier on. Probably this is a learning journey. So as much as we learn every day, and but I would urge for every creative to like expose themselves. You know, there are so many platforms out there, and as much as opportunities are there, I think that's when we get to like make sure we knocking on these doors, and we also like take ourselves as business people as much as possible, because I don't want to lie, most of the creatives or the visual artists have this stigma somehow in their heads for as I am a creative or as I am a visual artist, I make money, I make moves, so every day is just a holiday, you know. So I would also like to remind them in the back of their head, this is a business field, my man, you know. Sure. This is you making ways for your generation, your coming generation, you know, whatever. This is not just the bread and butter for tonight, you know, but this is the bread for the upcomings and all of those. But yeah.
So would you say it's advisable for an artist to have a business plan?
Most definitely, Sanele, you know. Also, this thing of having to like be your own boss, be your own marketer, be your own PA, be your own, you know, it's not working, guys, at some point, you know. As much as we're learning, I know, but I would urge for if yes, I can't have the manager, let me at least my girlfriend manage me in some way, you know.
Sure.
Your partner, your friend, who doesn't like do the same field as you, but also to also like knock on these doors, whatever company, just knock and say, guys, can you manage me because I struggle in 1, 2, 3. Would you guys like meet me halfway in terms of this and this, you know?
I would like to add on the previous question that we were talking about. So, as artists, as black artists also, so we come from like the hoods, Ekasi, basically. So, Ekasi, like, what's the art? Who's all the art? What's the art? And abstract artists also, like, what's the Koporosh? So, like, kubanzima ukuthi manje ukwazi ukuthi to tap into other doors, basically to open those other doors. But what is very important ukuthi you need to put yourself out there, because somehow as much as people they're gonna have to like your work, they're gonna have to buy your work.
Yeah.
They have to buy you first.
Sure.
They have to buy your personality. They have to buy, let's say,
Yeah.
because now your energy is what we see on the work, basically.
Sure.
Because and it becomes difficult for abantu abamekazi, because manje you don't meet labo bantu labo ukuthi manje you get to be like, yo, okay, mfana no. And some of the artists are like, they are very difficult in terms of like going to them and asking for help and stuff.
Yeah.
So as artists, LGBT or artists, they can be open enough to allow to mentor actually young artists, young upcoming artists,
Sure.
so that they can get to learn on how they can tap into other doors, basically, so everyone can grow. Because the artwork basically needs artists.
Sure.
So they can't be artwork without artists. So we need to mentor young artists in terms of like growing and teaching them how to actually tap into those doors and opening those doors, basically.
That's awesome. You know, I'm around artists a lot, even you guys. And one of the things I've realized is that, especially, and the reason why I'm asking the question about the business plan, right? There are pillars that make a business, right? But most artists that have been around, if you ask what pillars make a business, they don't know. And now that's where the issue starts to say, if you don't know the pillars, how will you know what research to do, what things to put in place to? We get that you have a gift or a talent, you know, that's fine, that's sorted, no one can take that away from you. But this is an entity now. This side of it has got pillars which you need to study individually so that you can see what you need. I sat here at Hakan with an artist, and he took me through, I'm in marketing, so he took me through he obviously studied this and looked at it, right? Took me through his website and showed me how his website filters into the other social media platforms, right? So I just want to throw this back because this is an important part. I'll ask the question, but we'll jump into it after the break, right? How important do you guys think it is that for artists, maybe events, maybe like this one, that speak about the business behind it and the pillars? How important would that be for you guys? Something that you need, or Nick Rand? You know, are you cool? You're gonna wing it and see how you get through. But just hold that thought. We'll answer that after the break. All right, welcome back, everybody. So we're in a second segment of the show. So I did ask a question before we went on the break, so I'll just brush over that question again, just for a reminder's sake. Just switch on your mics, please. Make sure your mics are on.
They're on.
Yeah, you test. You say testing. You know.
Used to this.
All right. So my question was around the importance of events like this one that break down the pillars of business for artists. Do you guys see an importance of that, or Nisha? You know, we wing it so one would say it's better.
Firstly, I would say these are the platforms where actually, I'm an artist and creatives are supposed to like attend this type of events, you know, because there's so much that we can draw from this. There's so much that we can learn from this, not only from Tina, but also from everyone around, you know.
Sure.
And you never know, man. But definitely, artists needs such shows.
Yeah.
So there's one thing that one artist told me. He said, you need to show up.
Sure.
You need to show up even if you think the event is how small it is. Like just showing up.
Yeah.
That is very important.
Sure.
So for me, I can say these are the platforms that are very important for artists.
Sure.
These are the platforms that are very important for anyone basically who are taking their thing seriously.
Sure.
Because it's not just art,
Yeah.
but each and every business aspect basically, you need to take every opportunity very seriously, because you never know who's watching at the back. You never know who's sitting there. You see? So each and every opportunity is very important.
Sure.
And just show up.
Sure.
Be there.
100%. And it counts for all of us, as Bekezela is saying, you know, we're all in business, but in different types of businesses. And this is why we're here at Highgun every Tuesday for Business Talk Tuesday. We have these panel discussions and the floor opens up for networking. You'll never know who you'll meet here and start something with, so please come down to Highgun and come mingle with us, you know. But yeah, so we're gonna open the floor now for questions. But I'll start here on the panel because Msanda is ready to grill our artists here. So, are you guys ready?
Yeah, so the first question that I want to ask is, how does a business plan for an artist? A business plan for an artist look like? Let's go through
The pillars.
Yeah, the business planning of an artist. What are you looking at? What are you focusing at?
I would like to think that, but for an artist to like come to think of that or answer that, I think it goes back to you asking yourself, why did you start something? And that's when you define who did you want to become, what do you want to become, and what's the goal behind it, what's the vision behind, you know, what's the motive behind it. Yeah, that's how I would say the whole concept behind the business plan, you know. It's you defining yourself and you growing your roots and understanding your roots and your story, Robert. Yeah, you must know your story, man.
Business plans are something else. It's the art one. Because we are artists at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So when you're into art, you're not thinking much of like the business plan. You're like, no, because now it's something else.
Sure.
When what you know is creative,
Yeah.
you want to create, then you meet people that have the business plan that they're going to help you. But now, for me, I can say, to have a business plan is basically having like a diary.
Sure.
Yeah, you're gonna need to have a diary in terms of like, you know what your goals are. You need to calculate some of the things,
Sure.
and you need to know in the next 6 months I need to have like a show or the 2 shows or maybe a pop-up show or something. Maybe I need to sell how many works basically.
Sure.
So now you start writing everything down in terms of like how you're gonna achieve those things and how you're gonna manifest those things basically. So by having that business plan or a diary basically, I would call it a diary for me on my side. Yeah, it's basically okay, I need to have a show here. In this certain time of work, so I need to contact these people and I need to show them what I do, and they need to give me their feedback on terms of like the work and stuff, then get to have like a show or something. So it's all about planning what you want and having a vision, having a direction. Basically,
Sure.
it's very important to have a direction in this industry, because you can't be creating and expecting Sunday is going to come and buy the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now what if Sunday doesn't come?
Sure.
You see, so you're like stuck with 100 paintings. Well, they're gonna be something that's in 100 years now. But you see, you have to have that plan of like, okay, so I need to prepare for a show. I need to make sure I have this work that I'm gonna move in, and this work is gonna be
Yeah.
for a certain what and stuff. So I think we also as artists need people who are gonna give us the idea of how can we have like a proper business plan.
Sure.
In terms of like how can we grow
Sure.
and learn basically, because most of the artists really do not have business plans. We just know how to create,
Yeah.
create.
Yeah.
Then yeah, basically.
Yeah, you know, Khalipha did touch on this, and he was speaking about the fact that you can't do everything yourself. You know, I know an artist here in Mabena who's got a PR company. You know, he hired these people, you know, to handle the PR, and he just wants to be in studio
And
creating.
also from the conversation, from the answers, you clearly know they have basically no idea of a business plan. How does it have to look like, and what other points to? Because if I ask now, what's your SWOT analysis as an art person? I think that the strength will obviously be the answer he gave, but let's talk about the threats. Do you guys consider other artists as as competition? And how do you believe, or me as an artist, this is my strength? And also as an artist, what is your opportunity? Where do you find your opportunity and say, this is my opportunity, this is what I can consider my opportunity as an artist? If I want to venture this business of me being an artist or selling my art and all this can be my opportunity. What is that? What is your strength? What is that thing that adds to value to say, yeah? Because
Yeah.
also that considers how much you sell your art for, because that value, everyone is looking for that thing. So
The
I want
target
to know,
audience, it's quite a
what
bit,
is that thing that adds value to your art as an artist?
Lena, please come first.
So there's this one artist that came to my studio and we had a conversation, we spoke. And one thing he told me after, he was like, there are many abstract artists and you're doing abstract and there are many abstract artists, but how are you different? How
What sets you apart?
yes, what sets you apart? And with the artists that you know, that you're close to, that do the same thing basically, how are you better? How are you different? How you so let's say there's a big artist that I look up to.
Sure.
The drive is like, I don't wanna be like him, but how can I be better than him?
Sure.
Basically, how can I be different and growing in terms of like the work might be similar,
Yeah.
but how is my work? How can you differentiate between his work and my work? And yeah, basically that in terms of, so for me it's like, how are you better basically?
Sure.
How you better? How you, yeah.
That defining factor, the value proposition, which is what Sandy's touching on here. Lena, please come. There's a.
And art is,
Excuse me?
and art is
Okay.
it's a feeling, man. You create from like from your inspiration.
Sure.
So the inspiration can be different. The inspiration can be the same also, but how you project your work to be out there. You need to have your own voice. You need to have your own style. You need to have your own elements of like, this is how my voice is going to be. This is what I want people to understand with this
Yeah.
in my work.
Yeah.
This is these are the elements that connect and put on the work that is mine, basically. That you can define these elements and say, this is a Mabena art, this is a Khalipha art.
Yeah, so what I'm picking up, okay, go.
But I just want to touch base on what Musanda just firstly asked, because I know we were going to skip on that. So he asked for how are we defining the competition and putting yourself in those corners and whatever.
Sure.
So when it comes to that, I'm going to be very strict, because I think at some point you must understand as a visual creative or as an artist and whatever. Once you put yourself or your work into competition doesn't mean the opportunities out there or whatever, but the competition between me and Sanele, once I compete with Sanele, that means I no longer create my work for whatever purposes that I'm creating the works for. But now, if Sanele we're gonna be in the same Coop exhibition, and Sanele is selling like 5 pieces, and then I sold one where it didn't even sell, that means I'm creating a monster inside me out of Sanele. Right? So we must stay away from creating competition. You understand? Because it's very important. It's gonna start firstly with your peers, with your friends, to the people that inspire you, and then at some point you're gonna sell and become this bad guy, this bad girl who just makes art for arrogance, you know. So let's just be strict when it comes to that. Create work to heal people, create work to communicate with the world. Don't create work to compete.
Yeah, and now when you're creating that work, it's more like you're creating work in terms of like Sanele's pace, basically. If Sanele creates, now like, oh, okay, we created this.
I think let me just clarify, because then the conversation goes into the wrong sphere, which is not where we're going. I think what Musanda is saying is, you are a brand, a business is a brand. In the field, you're in the artist field, it's about having your brand, having a competitive brand. Hired Gun is not necessarily competing with Starbucks, but we have to be visible in the coffee world, because we want to, that's us being competitive, our visibility. So what we are really competing with is our current level, right? We are at this level, our competition is this level, because we want to go to the next level, right? So what we do at this level is to better us to the next level. Then that's our competitive edge. So it's not necessarily about I'm competing with you, but I'm pushing my brand to the next level.
So I guess that takes me to the answer of like being better, basically. It's more like you know it's okay. So you open a coffee shop,
sure,
and there are coffee shops, but how is your coffee shop actually better?
That's where we go to what he was initially asking, the value proposition. What sets you apart?
So because now art is different, and we're into the contemporary art world now.
Yeah.
So art is different. Anything can be art now. So you can put this cup on the table in the gallery and have a good story about like Hired Gun coffee, what's and people are like, oh wow, this is nice. So art is different now, and how you put yourself out there in the world, and you showing up for your product, basically for your art, I think it is what makes you, what sets the standard up there, basically, and that's what makes the work different. Because now you can put the work on the wall, and not be there, and the work can be like the other works that are on the exhibition. But when you're there, standing in front of your work, basically, when you take a picture, how you stand, like you can be standing with celebrities, and be also standing firm, like you're also a celebrity.
I belong.
Yeah, and belong into the game basically. So I guess for me that's also like the point of like when you're into the art world, you need to put your foot in there and be like, I'm here. This is my work. I stand for my work, and my work is about this, and what I'm talking about is basically, let's say maybe for the people or something.
Awesome. Lena, we've got a question in the audience.
Hi everyone. So I have a question and a statement to make, but I'll start with the question. So the question that I want to make, I'll also give you kind of guidelines on how I'd like you to answer it based on the key points that I actually want to know. So it goes back to the value question that Musanda was asking, but how I'd like it to be answered based on what I want to know is, Kale could be coming saying, I'm not trying to compete with Sandile. Sandile is also coming with his art. Both of them are artists, and they're trying to make it big. They're also trying to make it into the gallery space. But at the same time, they're also trying to market their paintings in a space where they have to put their own price tags based on how much value they see in their own paintings. But sometimes the problem with value is that you do not perceive value the same way as the person who's trying to buy your painting, because sometimes you overestimate your painting when the person who's trying to buy it might underestimate it. So now, what brings the actual value, and do you determine your value based on market value, or do you determine your value of your painting based on the potential you see in it? So that's the guideline I'd like to ask, which is the first thing. And the second thing is, how are you able to keep momentum in terms of being able to make art for the sake of making art, and also use that very same art to make a living? Because sometimes the drive is lost when you realize that maybe you're not making sales from the actual painting, but at the same time, you realize that what started off the dream of trying to paint was just the fact that you were trying to be creative and to tell your story from the paintings. So once again, the question is the value, but I'm trying to find out, is the value determined by the market or your potential, or how you see the potential of the painting? And secondly, I just wanted to find out how you keep the momentum, even though the sales do not correspond with the momentum or the creativity that just flows. Yeah.
So,
let me get on this. So, in terms of value, I would firstly urge one to like have knowledge first. I think this is where schooling needs to get in. I think for us having to like had to actually be go artist prof studio and have to like have a part of you learning a bit of the business side, and having to actually also like prepare yourself as a visual artist, a student, and after you being a student, it comes a question to say, what are you? So for me, the thing is, I think from day one when I got to the tertiary level, I never took myself or looked back at myself as a student. I always practice my mind to say I'm a professional artist, to kind of like introduce my mind and all into that business sphere, So how am I determining my work in terms of the value and stuff? That's when the schooling goes back to say, if it wasn't somehow for the school, I think I would get in a space, a gallery or whatever, where I would have to exhibit my work, and they say, your work doesn't worth this much, your work worth this much, and I would just stand there and say, that's okay, but you having to like also go back to Mabena, he also said, you need to stand your ground. That means you need to understand your language, you need to understand where you're from. You need to understand what's this? You need to understand where you studied and why your work worth whatever much, you know. So that's it for me.
So in this game, there's value gets to be determined in terms of like the experience, how long have you been in the game, and your medium, basically what do you use and how do you use it. Because I can paint on the canvas, then Temba comes here with the wood and bends the wood and carves through the wood. Now the techniques are two different things. Now you can see there's a lot of work that is put here, and the detailing of the work is something else, something different. While is the other one, you can see there is skill, there is talent, yes, and the work is good. The both works are good basically, but now you get to look at like, okay, Temba has been featured in these exhibitions. His work has been exploring, traveling the world. People have been exposed to his work. More people have been exposed to his work, basically. So now the value gets to be higher in terms of like, Temba has more people viewing his work, basically, and more galleries have interest in his work, basically, and he sells more international clients, international, basically. One is maybe, let's say you are a local artist. You see? So now the value actually adds up to the value adds up. So also the technical part and the experience, because I can't be saying my work is like 100,000 while it's someone who has been here for like 10 years, his work is like 50,000. So why my work is at 100,000 while there's someone who has been doing this thing for like years and years and years, his work is still like 50,000. So now it becomes also the scale of the work. My mic? Sorry. So the value comes to experience, the scale of the work, and the technical part of it. So when I started, I mentioned that I'm a visual artist and also a printmaker. I like to emphasize that one also a lot, because now the painting, my paintings and my prints, they're different pricings. Because with printmaking, I can edition a plate basically. So now the price of it gets to be lesser than the paintings, because the painting can be one of one. So now with the printmaking, I can edition, like let's say this beautiful artwork of Khalipha. With printmaking, I get to create a plate for it. Then with that plate, I can have 10 artworks of that. So now the price of it is different from like when it's a one-of-one. Because now when it's a one-of-one, it's like it's an original piece. You get to have it, and no one gets to have another piece. So when it's an edition, maybe let's say 10 people can have the piece. So the price don't have to be like extremely crazy, like a painting basically. And I guess I've said, I don't know if maybe I answered the question. And what was the other question?
And also to answer on your momentum and stuff. Yeah. So I think you have to always have a drive, regardless of you selling or you not selling. But at some point, you need to have a drive and always channel your energy into positivity, you know, and find your steps, right, and have a good circle of friends or peers and whatever, you know, because those are the people who can carry you when you're down and stuff. but never create unnecessary competitions and stuff.
Hey, we need a full day seminar to speak about art.
Can I
No,
add something?
we've got quite a few questions. I'm gonna cut this one
Okay.
because of time. Our time is limited. So I've got another question.
Hi everybody. It's actually not a competition. I'm shy. For me, it's basically not a competition as per se. And I think more than anything else, we as people, we have to acknowledge our differences first, because our differences is what's going to make us work together and with a better understanding. So most of the time, you'll find that in the creative space, these guys, they don't look in the bottom line, they look in the top line. Whatever they do, they create with that in mind. Whereas if I come as a business person, I'm a numbers person, I'm looking at the bottom line. So when we look at the two, you find that there's always going to be a contrast between them and us. You know, so one of the things for me that I would say is crucial, especially on the creative side, is that we as people, we need to learn to work with each other. When I say work with each other, is that you're a business person, you understand business. He's a creative artist, he understands that.
100%.
But between the two, you can't try to be an artist,
Sure.
and he can't try to be a businessman.
Sure.
Because somewhere down the line, someone or something is going to suffer. And the other thing with the creatives as well is that when I did a little bit of a research, and like about 10 years ago, about business, I discovered that almost 80% of successful businesses were started by people who had no knowledge of business academically. 100%. Why? Because business is a supply and demand. So they looked into that. But when you are a qualified person in business, you know I need a business plan. If I'm going to do this, these are the documentation that is required for me to do this. And it also goes with projections and also the capital that you're going to need to start that business. So because of that, sometimes you find that the capital is massive and you aren't able to have that capital. So you cap your business and your business does not start. However, the people that don't have the information you have, they see supply and demand. I'm going to sell fat cake and that's it. And because there's a demand for it. But somewhere down the line, somebody says, hey, if you need to sell, you need to have a fire extinguisher. Oh, okay, you take the money from the business, you get it. They say, you need acceptability certificate. What is that? They tell you, oh, you go, you do that.
Yeah.
And you are in a motion and you keep on growing. The best thing for me when I would sit here that I would say, especially in the creative space, if you want to be the best, you have to find the people that are the best and that are lining up with your vision and your goal. Let them do what they do best, you do what you do best, and between the two of you, you meet halfway. Because in the space that I'm in, I've done a bit of research as well. There's a lot of people that are really successful with very little knowledge and experience.
Sure.
But how that happened is it's an alignment thing. You know, if this guy's a businessman, you're an artist. You guys need to find ways of working, and you will see success will come. That was just my comment.
I love that. I love that. Can we have a round of applause for it? Because that is key. That alignment is very important. Yeah, so I'm going to take, there's a question. That was not a question, James. That's why I'm not sending it to you. So we'll take another question.
Mabena.
So my question is about copyright, royalties and the likes. So I want to talk about miracle an artist in showcase without either their concern or their knowledge. So if it has happened to you guys, how did you manage it? And if it hasn't happened, how do you avoid it from happening?
Last time I checked, we've had a point where we actually like touched base on what you just asked. So I think there must be a time where creatives actually have to focus on the legal side, and our law also have to like squeeze in the creatives, because I don't think that section is there where artists would also have the right to their royalties. And when we talk about royalties, we talk about me now having to sell this artwork to this client, and this client after quite some time have to take this piece to the auction side, and when it reaches the auction world, that's when the client actually it's you're no longer included, and it closes the artist out, and that's where we need to squeeze in this royalty issues and all, because I feel like a lot of artists don't actually have the rights to their own work when in certain fields of their space and all, you know. So I would love for our agreement where we also have our rights and a voice in our work, wherever, whenever, yeah.
Awesome.
So I think it's very important to sign what you know, basically. So each and every gallery is gonna give you a contract, and you're gonna have to read it, not like how we read in terms of conditions of like before and just accept, because you'll never know. You'll never know what was there, because now you get to sign with the gallery, then your work is put out there, then maybe let's say the client buys the work.
Sure.
But now when the client buys the work, then they come to you and be like, we want that work to be featured in this cover page of a magazine.
Yeah.
You see, now the work is no longer yours. The work is like for a client. But now the client gets to be like, well, if maybe they contact the client, then the client gets to reproduce the work in terms of like, they to a magazine.
So they're generating more revenue from this work.
Sorry?
Are they generating more revenue from this work?
Exactly. So it's very important to actually read the contract and know exactly what you're signing to. Because now, when you're reading the contract, you're gonna also have to specify in terms of like, if maybe a client gets to buy the work in my studio, I have to give the certificate of authenticity, of authentication.
Yes.
English, my God.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah. So you need to have that certificate in terms of like, so that and states there with it. So this is the work, you bought it this much in the studio, and by you buying this work here, so when the work goes to auction, listen, and it gets to be sold 2 times higher for like the price, then I get to have like a 10% of like the price basically.
Sure.
And this is the thing that wasn't there basically, but now it's actually the thing that is new to the artist, and we're actually tapping into that, because a lot of artists have been ripped. Now, if someone gets to come to the studio and buys the work for like 10,000, but go to auction and then the work gets to be sold for like 50,000. Then the 40,000 goes to who? The client. You're not getting anything basically. So now, but when you state in the certificate of authentication that at least 10% of or a certain amount, then you get to agree with the client in terms of like how we're moving forward. Because
that's so key. That's so key in your world, because I don't know much about the artist world, but I can see that art lives on forever. You know, art will move even when the person's no longer there, and its value continues to increase. So not having such things in place, it's not even good for the generations coming after you. So you know?
I got lucky that I shouldn't be actually saying this out loud, however. Do you know Norema Bas? Do you know Norema Bas?
no.
You don't know Norema Bas?
Crucify them, they don't know.
You don't know Norema Bas?
Noria Mabasa. Noria.
Norema Bas.
Oh, I know. I've heard of Noria Mabasa.
You've heard of Norema Bas? It's gladly to say that she's my grandmother.
Oh, really?
So I've seen how much of her work has been going. she doesn't even know where it is in the world now. But even today, she still gets royalties.
That's awesome.
So it's something that I think it needs to be taught to artists and other artists to say, this is how. Unfortunately, luckily she got the white people who was on her side. Those are the ones who actually got her to have. She got the award this year at UJ, honorary award. For art.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So that's where my love for art came from, because I used to go out.
Yeah, but there's a big lesson to learn from that, you know. And then even now, even when Granny's gone, this never stops. You know, that flow will continue whether she's here or not, you know, which is awesome. So it's a big lesson to learn. Right?
That's where the mentorship comes in terms of like, for the young upcoming artists.
Yeah.
Because some of the young upcoming artists, we just sell the work, sell, and we like,
we don't even know what's happening.
We don't even know what's happening. We don't even want to know what's gonna. Are you gonna hang the work, or if you're not gonna hang the work, gonna put in the shelf?
Sure. What's your motive? What's your
motive? What's the plan with this work? Basically, you don't really get to have those conversations with our giants, basically. So I think it's very important for like people like that, Noria Mabaso, to have like.
She has a school. That's why I'm asking myself, how do you guys, after go to an art school, maybe university, how do they explain certain regulations? Do they give you, okay, cool. Do you have your own contract when I say, this is my requirement before you go to an art gallery? This art gallery, this is my requirement. This is what I want for my work. If you know NFTs, they came NFTs. So for every NFT that's been sold, there was actually the owner has a certain percentage written on it. However, it can be sold 50,000 times. However, that 10%, that 20% goes back to
the artist.
So how do we, or on your own suggestions now, if you are saying, come up with your own ways. How do you think that can be done? How do you think, or me as a business person, I'm saying, I'm partnering with you. How would you think, or say, tell me, this is how I want you to authenticate my work. This is how I want you to say, even my work, even for generations and generations, my work can still feed my kids.
Sure.
Can still take my kids to school. Sure. How do you think that can be done? Because you are an artist, you understand the artist space. How do you then request it from me? This is how I want it to be done.
It's just now, basically, because now, this is where, now we're having this conversation, this is where now...
I never give high fives on the show, but I love what
this is now we get to have this conversation, this is now we get to learn and get to teach other people in terms of like, we need to have this certificate of, you state what you want for the work and how the work should, well, not really how the work should move, but when the work moves, this is how the returns get to come back to you and get to feed the younger generation that are coming behind. That's why you get people like Noria Mamas, now they're creating schools because of the work that has moved, the work that is moving around. Then it gives back it comes back also. Like when the work moves, then something comes back. Now then they get to give back to the younger generation, by the way. So it's very important for us to start now and realize that this is, art lives longer. Art is for the generation, basically. The art that we do now is the art that our great-great-great-children are going to be studying about. And how are they, because it's something else to be your grandchildren, be like, oh, this is my great-grandfather who did this. But they're not eating from that. They're hungry, actually. So we need to channel how we move and how they get to eat from that, basically. By stating that if the work gets to an auction for this amount of, maybe 2 times higher for like, then how do the percentage get to come back?
That's fine, but what I want to say to you guys, I think, and Khalipha did mention this, I think he mentioned it during the break, but it's very key that we've come to this space and we've been engaging, and Khalipha was saying that even for himself he's discovered that there's things that he it opened up his mind, basically, to certain things, right? And I just want to say, my heart for Business Talk Tuesday is that we come into the space, we have these discussions, and we spot the gaps that we have, so that we know where to go and get the answers for these gaps. But besides knowing where to get the answers, we've said with the both of you, you know what your industry needs. And what I wish more than anything is that you too become the disruptors. You too go and make the change. Out of all that we get from this space, we get from Business Talk Tuesdays after having these discussions, we are not sitting here as celebrities. It's for you to see what gaps we looked at and find out how to make those changes. And I love what Chef said. Chef said that you've got a talent, you've got a gift, right? You need to find the people that you need to enhance that talent and gift, right? But don't do it only for yourselves, right? I would love that you do it for the industry, because we're black people. Our background is really, just to put it bluntly, it's not privilege, right? But we've come into the city, we've come to learn certain things, we've sat in discussions like this. What do you do with this information? You say, no, it's all good. I was on a show, I'm gonna put it on YouTube. We wanna put it on YouTube, you'll get the link, you'll share with your friends. And then what? Right? So how then are you going to go into your industry and disrupt, And this is what I would like to encourage you guys to do, go in. There are people that that you've met, whom understand the business perspective of art, right? Bring those people together. There's people that Bekezela knows. Maybe those people know the marketing aspect. You know people that know the business planning aspect. He might know people that know the marketing aspect. Bring these people together, go and disrupt the industry, go in, make that change, So I'd like to encourage you guys to do that, and I don't know if you'd like to add on to what I am saying.
It's not easy, but yeah. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but I think for me now, when I started doing art, I think I had this one thing of keep creating, keep going. That drive of like, even if I'm hungry, I need to put at least a line in my work. You see, just to have something to create. So that disruption is not easy, but it's necessary. Yeah, because in this industry is big, and there are a lot of gatekeepers also.
Sure.
So you need to know those gatekeepers and need to understand what do you need to have? What passport do you need to have to actually pass through that gate?
Sure.
But for you to have that passport, you have to keep on working, keep on pushing, keep on producing, be there, attend, show up, create work.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most important thing, basically, to bypass some of the gatekeepers. You being there, creating work. I remember during COVID, it was 2020 lockdown. I had to go to construction and work there because I was still studying. So I used to get home late, and I was like, okay, so I'm drained. I can't even draw, or like I'm tired. I can't do anything. But I told myself that at least let me put a line.
Yeah.
On top of the paper or canvas. Let me put a line. Then tomorrow when I come back, I will work on top of that line. I have a direction. That line is going to lead me somewhere.
Sure.
So that line, then tomorrow when I come back, I'm like, oh, okay, let me put a line that goes this direction now. Now, I get to learn to be consistent of like creating work, producing work. Now, then, if someone says, there's this thing going on, I'm like, oh, there's this paper that I did 2 lines, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
Then I get to bypass that gatekeeper of like, oh, okay, this is good, it can be on the show. Now the work gets to be exposed to a lot of audience now. Then a lot of audience get to engage with the work, get to understand with the work. So for me, the most important thing is to show up, create work, keep on pushing, keep on creating.
Yeah, I'm still, I'm in agreement with you, but I want to push you guys beyond that. So I'm going to repeat what I'm saying. go and disrupt, go beyond. A gatekeeper is nothing unless the gatekeeper has kept your mind already. You can't do nothing about a gatekeeper. If the gatekeeper is big in your mind, they are big in your life and you can't move them. Right? So disrupt, please. It's one of the things that are very important. That's why we're doing this. We need the clutter of the common is crowded, and we need people to come out of that clutter of the common. It's clutter for a reason. Go to it, and you can be normal. And the people you keep around you will keep you there if they don't think higher at a higher standard than that. So let's refuse to be there. That's why we are having these sessions. We are moving out. Because now you start to grow again people that think at that level. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Gatekeepers will always be there. Every industry, my industry has gatekeepers. But I'm refusing to stay in one place. You know, if I have to go around the gatekeeper, if I'm disrupting. I can't allow that gatekeeper to stand there. Right? Sometimes gatekeepers are your friends. The things they say to you. Right? Marasnaila, your take.
No, man. I think for me now, man. It's all about putting yourself out there and always care yourself, Baba. Know yourself. If you're down on your knees, lift yourself up on V2. And one of the most important things Bekezela Shilo of V2 is very important, and it's just to show up, you know, and always believe in yourself. Sometimes, somehow, we don't have to put this gatekeeping things in our mind and stuff, because that's how somehow you channel your energies and stuff into the wrong direction, you know. But it's all about you pushing yourself and you believing in your craft, and you know, your work is going to take you places, my man, and your magic is just going to put you out there.
Sure.
It's very important to actually invite one.
100%. Now that's breaking through. But I want to thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us today, and we really appreciate it. Personally, I think we have to have a full day seminar of some sort, and bring marketers and bring business, what do they call it? Business consultation company, and let's talk to artists. Let's talk about these things. Mr. Lennox, if you could give us your space to have that, maybe it's something we can play with the guys. And this is what I'm speaking about when I say being a disruptor. Make the change. Let's sit and discuss this. Let's make it happen. You know, why not? I mean, it's going to benefit all of us, right? I just want to thank you who is watching. Please, I'm going to reiterate this again. Please join us here. We're here every Tuesday from 7 p.m. until late. We've got a panel discussion, which is from 7 until 8. And then we go into networking. So this was one of the longest programs that we've had so far, but it was very, very informative. I personally enjoyed it. But yeah, please join us next week again for Business Talk Tuesday.